Hey, I'm pretty excited about this little project. It's not complicated, and it will use a lot of the simple things that we've mastered on the other projects. Okay, let's go and draw it and get started. There's a quick little sketch here. This one has a little lean-to on it. You can add that if you want. And it's a little steeper. I've left the tree out here. I want to just go through the steps of getting a basic house or building. Now you'll notice that if I put a line through the middle here, it's just above the middle here, and this one's a little bit off to the left. I want to move that over. So on my paper, I have to find the middle, and I can pretty much eyeball the middle as here. And I want my little house to come to about here because we're doing this painting here. So very simply, you're going to make a rectangle, or if you want, you can make a square. If you use a square, it'll be a little bit narrow. So I like to make my house a little wider, and it's just above the middle. So there we go. Now it doesn't look like a house, but the house never looks like a house until it's a house. And then you can find how high you want your roof line, and then just come down on both sides. This is a very simple way to make a house or a building. Make sure the roof comes over, and then you can just add another line right here, but not all the way, just down to here. You don't even have to fill that in. Just make sure it's a little higher than here. If you want, you can add some height to the house by adding a foundation like that. Now, if you do that, then you have to bring that down just a little more. You see? So that's up to you whether you want to put that. I like that line in there. The windows, we can put 3 windows in. You know, you can do what you want, but I'll just put in these little side windows. Maybe it's a schoolhouse or a community hall. You can add a little build top on it like this for a barn, but I'm just going to add the chimney. I'm going to make it a little higher than the house. One side, nothing complicated, and a little line on this side, which will be darker later. So now you want to put in a small line like this, and that's called the fascia. And we can clean that up later. And then the roof comes out a bit more like that. We're not even going to do any shading. If you like a nice straight line, you can turn your paper like this. If you turn your painting upside down, or your picture upside down, sometimes you can get it a little more square, see? So there we go. And first time, I'm going to erase this. This is a soft gum type eraser. The brown eraser is very nice. And I think I'll lighten that line up there too. And then I have my badger hairbrush, and I just sweep it off. There we go. Just mark in a little shadow here with a few strokes of your pencil, just like that. Okay, here comes the road. Come a little bit above the shadow and just turn the corner like that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And then another line, just very thin. Just bring that across. And then another one like this. So this, I'm going to shade it in. You don't have to, but just to help you see the side of the house here, you see? And this will be dark also. So I'll just do a little shading there so you can see what it looks like, okay? There we go. Now, there's a little spot there too that's going to be shaded in. That's your soffit. There's the road, comes across. You might try that a few times. Then there's the horizon line, or really it's just the bottom of the land far away. And the road sort of disappears into that right there. Okay, details. The first thing we're going to do is the fence, and the reason we're doing a fence is there's a little trick to the fence. Put a little post. Usually the post is on your own property. Okay, and a little round post. We're not going to make it all 3D right now. There's one post. The next post is a little bit, it's going to be a little bit lower. Okay, so it's lower. And you can make skinny posts, whatever kind of post you like. The next post is going to be a little closer. So we're just going to mark them in. See, the distance gets a little less every time until eventually the posts look like they're touching each other. Now, I like to sometimes make one of the posts fall over. It adds a little interest to the posts. So this one could be leaning, you see, like I put in here. And also, if you don't like the big fat post, you can go with a narrower post, see? And like I said, I like to make this one lean. Straight is not, leaning into the picture is better. There we go. There's a little fence. If you want to put a little something over there, you can. The tree, very simply, let's just put the 1, 2, 3 trees in. So the one tree is going to be right here. The next tree is going to be beside the house. And a little bit in front of the house, see? Just a little bit in front. And then we can have one leaning here as the big one. And it's going to be a little lower than this one. See? There we go. One side of the tree is bent this way, and the other side is more or less straight. So let's bring down the big picture here so you can see this. Okay. Trees, the girth of the tree here, or the width of the tree, you can determine, make it wide or make it narrow. Then make just a little shape that goes up like that to start with. So how thick are these limbs? They're the thickness of the trunk. So if you take half of that and you take half of that, these two combined would be the same thickness as that. Here's that handy eraser. I really like these brown erasers. And you just keep Y-ing out. And you just keep making this Y. You see? And then you can add one here. They go up and then change directions. Bring one in here. Just make the Y. Very easy way to do a tree. And I like to take some smaller limbs over like that. Now this one's a little more intimate, you can see, because the tree is closer. Okay, now this tree looks a little unbalanced, so I'm going to add another one here, right over to the edge of the paper. Remember, each one gets a little bit narrower, and you end with a little Y. Go. The bottom I'm not too happy with. I think it would look better stopping there. And this one's still higher. And then you repeat the same on this one. This one I'm going to make a little straighter. Maybe it's an elm tree, but it's the same principle. You always have one going up the middle and then turning into a Y. Just remember the Y. The Y of the tree. Okay, that's this one's a little thin, so I'm going to thicken it up a bit. Maybe even thicken this a bit. On this one, I'm going to bring a branch right over in front of the house, you see? There's your Y. Okay, I like that. I'm going to soften this edge here. It's a little bit too dark, but darken this edge because one edge is in the shadow. The left edge is in the shadow. Anything in front, just erase it. There you go. Put a little bird's nest up there if you want. The faraway tree is simpler. Just make one going up like that. Think of 1, 2, tree. There's 3 there, see? And then put your Y's in. And it's a little bit easier to do. And because it's spring, we're going to have a little bit of a, see, a little bit of a haze. Little smoke coming up there. This is all the details you need, except for the shadow of this tree on the house. And how do I do that? Well, I just add a few little shapes going this way, like that. Okay? This one, the shadow's over here. Just pointing a little bit on an angle here. As they get farther away, though, the shadows flatten. Everything flattens as it gets farther away, but here, because the sun's coming from here, we have this. And you can make your shadows go any way you want, but just get some shadows in there. Okay, very nice. That's a good start. And then we have a little bit of a mountain coming down here, maybe just in the middle of the road. And we have a little bit of hazy mountain maybe back here. But we can get that with the painting. And all this here, you'll see me do this one, and you'll see me do this one. This is going to be straight washes, not a lot of pencil lines. But if you like the pencil lines, take a look at this painting, and I'll provide a picture for you in the materials, and you can do some shading just like I did here. Put the middle of the road in, though. It's not paved, so there'll be a little texture in there. Well, there you go. I just squeezed out ultramarine, phthalocene blue, and alizarin crimson. These are Winsor & Newton Cotman brand, very good brand. Everything else is fine, but I like to use my Graham paints for the ultramarine. The big thing today to remember is big, big thing to remember, big, medium, and dark. So let's begin, and let's mix up two different kinds of neutrals. 30 degrees, that's a perfect elevation for the board. I'm going to mix up 2 puddles of water here, see? Generous amount of water. And I'm going to do a warm neutral, so I will take some yellow ochre. I'm going to use some of this alizarin crimson here, and that's also here, you can see it, but I'm just choosing to use the Graham. And that makes a wonderful orange. And you'll notice I have 2 little spots underneath here, so I am going to take some of that as a secondary color. Yellow plus the crimson makes a lovely orange, and just add a little more of the ochre to it and a little bit of more of this to make it stronger, because I may want to use that. Okay, same thing on the other side. Take a little bit of the yellow ochre, put it there. Okay, what am I going to add next? I'm going to add red to this also. So I've done the same thing. I've added the crimson, the alizarin crimson to both sides, and we're okay. 2 ochres, 2 crimsons. Now it's the blues that make the difference. Ultramarine blue here. Makes a lovely warm gray. We call it a West Coast gray or a mist gray. Clean the brush. Got a nice big jug of water here. See this big jug of water? Don't use little jugs of water. You get dirty too fast. Okay, then I take a little phthalocene. Just a little drop to start with. And let's see what that does. Let's see the difference. Okay, and I'm going to be doing the picture first that doesn't have a lot of shading on it. I think it's feeling spring. I get a feeling of spring here. Ooh, look at that, nice variation there. Let's put some warmth up against the house here, right there. Definitely I'm getting a feeling of spring. Just tap a little bit in here, look at that, eh? And now I let that dry. Why do I let it dry? Well, because I want to see what it looks like. Well, I'm looking forward to concluding this class with you. So just watch at the end of the video. You can go to the next level and we can finish up this little study. Studies are great. I love them because they lead us to more paintings and technical ability.